tell Joe Byron right now?
What's up, baby? Take me out to dinner.
Hey, yo, what are you thankful for this Thanksgiving?
Beans, rice, Jesus Christ, and Byron.
Who?
Byron.
Who?
Byron.
Who's the president, man? Who's the president?
Byron.
Who's the president?
Byron.
What you gotta tell Joe Byron right now?
Bring me to the White House, baby.
Hey, yo, he's kissing the cop car. Who's the president?
Byron.
Who?
Byron.
Say what's up to Byron.
What's up, Byron?
What you gonna do when you see Joe Byron in the Oval Office?
I'm gonna give him a big old kiss.
Hey, yo! Tell Joe Byron.
Oh, what's up, everyone? My name is Walt. I'm your host for today. Thank you all for joining me. I'm excited to kick this off. This whole thing started right after the elections when it was kind of crazy. Like everyone was like, oh, what's happening? Is Biden even like still president? Is he actually president? Is Trump president? All the mail-in ballots were coming in. It was crazy. And I realized like, I know enough to vote, but I don't really know that much about politics. I don't really know what all this means or anything. It's time for me to really mature politically. In fact, that was inspired by a clip from Malcolm X, who was shared way back in the day, like, yo, it's time for us to really mature politically besides just voting and really know our influence. And so I decided, you know what, let me take it seriously. So I called up a few of my people to kind of pull up after this election just to see how they were feeling, what's going on in their minds. Because it was an insane time, if y'all remember. Like, this has only been a year since the elections, and still things are like, I don't know. I like the change in leadership, but I don't really like what's happening right now. Also, what's up, everyone? Appreciate you tuning in live. I really do appreciate y'all as you coming through and post some comments on. Yeah, we're coming in hot. What's up, everyone? Appreciate y'all joining me. I'm excited to do this, y'all. And it's not just me because if y'all know, I don't like doing things by myself. So today I have with me the original political pull-up crew, Calvin Anderson. First up, Calvin, how you doing today?
Yo, what's up, man? I'm doing well, doing well.
Nice. Now tell me, what do you want to say to Joe Byron?
Why are we not delivering on our promises? It's time. You can't tell me to vote for you and you don't do what you say you're gonna do.
I feel that. It's been a year. As you're saying that, like the song from Dreamville, like came up to Down Bad, and he's like, y'all to hear, you let it go by. That's how I feel. Like obviously some things have happened, but it's been a year. I want to see some things. And you know who else wants to see some things is Queen Cole. Queen, how are you doing today? Thank you for joining us.
Hey, good evening.
Wonderful. Now, what do you want to say to Joe Byron?
I want to say to Joe Byron, don't run for re-election.
Don't run for re-election. Why do you say that?
No, your freshman year, this report card is not the honor roll.
You might need to repeat a grade, but I don't know. Yeah. All right, Jasmine is up next. Jasmine LaVerne, how you doing? I don't know if we can hear you right now, but Jasmine, when you come back, I'm gonna come back and ask you how you feel about Joe Byron and what you want to say. I do know when I initially was talking to you, you're like, yo, you're messing it up for the rest of us. We're out here trying to do stuff. The Democrats like I was trying to make things happen. You're like, just causing a standstill and everything. But everyone, this is we're coming together because this like politics, at least for me, I feel like, a lot of people have a lot of opinions about it and everything. And the experts are talking on CNN, Fox, and to me, it all like kind of sounds the same. Everyone has different talking points, but I feel like no one really talks about like how it's affecting our daily lives. Jasmine, are you back with us? Can you say something real quick?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Real time, we hear you. What's up?
Yeah, you can hear me. I need to read that the Democrats are in disarray and that, yes, he is messing it up for his party. He needs to wrangle them in and, figure out the succession plan because I'm with Queen. It's no need for you to rerun.
I feel that. Yeah, we need to kind of huddle up real quick and be like, yo, what's going on? We still got a few more quarters left. We got 3 more quarters left, essentially. We need to figure out what's going on. So to kind of keep that conversation going, I'm kind of curious to hear, like, what do y'all currently feel about the current political environment besides just Joe Byron and Harris and all of them? Like, do you feel that there are, I know politicians always talk about the things they're going to do and the dream, and everyone has said everything that makes everyone happy. But how do y'all actually feel about what's going on like right now? Do you feel supported? Do you feel like things are actually going to happen?
Nope. I mean, to be straight up, I feel like it's a time waste. Um, every day we listen to the news, read the paper, read articles that come out, and it's always the same thing. For whatever reason, progress is always impeded. Nobody wants to take blame. It's them, they're doing it. It's the other side, they're doing it. It's just a constant stalemate on things that could be done to make things better for everybody. So I wish we had a political system that kind of combated that and would basically just stop the red tape and the runaround.
Mhm.
Because all it does is waste money, waste time, and those are two things that most people, the U.S. don't even have money. A bajillion dollars in debt, but some way we find a way to find money for stuff that isn't gonna impact the everyday life of the people they're supposed to represent.
I feel that. Just reminded me of.
Oh,
Y'all heard that too?
that's like
It's crazy, y'all. They're watching us right now. Yo, let's see. We have a comment here. We have someone that said, "We always have money for things we don't." Exactly. I remember seeing a video of like this police department in North Carolina, and they were showing off their brand new car, this fancy car that I couldn't even get myself. And I was like, yeah, I think they called it like a ghost car or something. Like you won't even see it coming. It's like, okay, y'all have enough money for that,
Is that?
but what about?
I think I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it like popped out everywhere last year, and I was like, really? And then when you hear about like, oh, we don't have enough money to support things like Planned Parenthood, but everyone in the military's got what they need. Well, actually, probably not, but they do spend a lot in the military there too. And it's like, okay, so there is money here. We saw the stimulus happening, like people made millions of dollars off the stimulus package because of some tax loophole. So the money is there. They could find money if they don't have it, but it's not getting shared with the rest of us. I feel that. How do you
Yeah.
feel about that, Queen? I see you about to say something.
Man, I just feel like we're in a toxic relationship. Like
Mm.
this is crazy. And I know we usually use that word when we're talking about, romantic relationships, but I feel like this is a very toxic relationship. It's like you over here saying all these great things, this is what's gonna happen. But then really in my heart, you just a space filler because it was like who else we gonna get? Nobody else was stepping up. I can't even think. I'm saying telling him don't run, and I'm saying that really for his own health, but I'm like, who else is there? You know what I mean? So it's a toxic relationship. It's like I gotta stay with you. I gotta ride it out, but I don't want to be here. I don't want to be in this. I don't want to be in a COVID atmosphere. I don't want to be in inflation. So it's like it's just a toxic relationship. It's bad. It just
Mm.
feels
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I feel like the Democrats kind of force fed us Joe when there were better choices, in my opinion. To me, it's down between Bernie and Elizabeth Warren. Both of them are, to me, straight shooters, progressive. If they want to get it done, they're gonna get it done. I saw a clip a few weeks ago of Bernie. I think it was the Kellogg factory somewhere in the Midwest or in Pennsylvania or something like that. And he's basically saying like, it's weird that you guys vote the way you vote, because I mean, the Republican stance is let companies do what they want. Well, companies want to, not pay you what you're worth, not give you health benefits, and do X, Y, and Z to you. Why do you continue to vote that way? I'm here with you on the ground, telling them, with you that it's wrong and there needs to be changes. So it's just weird that we kind of got force fed one thing, just because of, I would say, honestly, name recognition. Because it's easy to say, oh, I know that's Obama's man, so I'm a ride with that. Versus really sitting down and thinking like, who's gonna do the best job for us? And it's just
Mhm.
not looking that way right now.
And I
Yeah.
have to agree with you, Calvin, because that was the whole thing with Kamala Harris, because she had a record that was,
Shaky.
it wasn't squeaky clean. So I think that is a key thing. The name recognition, people just jumped on that. Okay, she's a part of a sorority. It just really, we were looking at the wrong things. And that's how we get the whole bait and switch all the time. That's why it keeps happening.
Yeah, you're right. It's like it's that's so crazy. I do remember like during the whole election process, there are people who were like not opposed to burning at all. Well, at least they didn't say anything opposed it, but they're like, but we know Biden, he was there, it's safe. Everyone felt so comfortable. And I don't know why. I don't know why. And I think Talk to Q got it right. We need to stop allowing the media to tell us who the best candidates are. Basically force feed us who they want us to embrace. And that is so right. And I feel like that's part of why we saw the whole like, cause like I think last go around with Hillary, Biden lost for real, if I'm not mistaken. But this time he kind of took the step back because he could see how things were going, and he chose not to try to divide the party any more than it was. And I felt hurt because, like you said, it is kind of like a toxic relationship. Biden was courting me, I was kind of feeling him and everything, and then he just stepped off, and Biden was the only one left, only one left. It does feel like, and that's actually funny. You say this too. Too cute. You coming with the hot takes today, and I like it. I like it. You said I don't see how rich people can understand how the middle class lives when they don't even buy their own gas or groceries. Facts. Like, do y'all
Yeah, still
remember
facts,
when?
man.
Yeah, I think it was the New York mayoral race, New York City, and they were asking like how much does rent cost, and they were saying something like $200 or something like that. They really
Hey,
did not
yo.
know.
Yeah,
I was like,
Section 8.
what? Right, I was like, how? And you know what, it looks like we got someone back with us. What's up, Jasmine?
I'm back. It's my camera. I'm on my phone now.
Oh
Technical
yeah,
difficulties.
they don't want you to be great, but I'm glad you're back because when I asked you how you felt about the current political climate, you came with like you came with it, and I want to read off a little bit and just kind of get your. I won't read the whole thing, so I want to take it from you, but I gotta say a few of it. So when I asked you how
So I
you
can
feel
elaborate.
about the current political environment, you said it's stressful. The government isn't doing its job to take care of its people after 2 years of a pandemic. I'm gonna stop right there. Just like I'm really curious, like how are you feeling right now about what's going on in this political world?
You all was hearing in the background when I was handling my technical difficulties. And you were talking about the economy in a sense, and with all this inflation, you can pay for everything, but the minimum wage, we're still fighting for $15, but $15 isn't going to take care of anybody, anything. Um, so it's just like everything's getting more expensive. The government can pay and give us a stimulus 1 minute in the beginning of the pandemic, but we're 2 years in. People are still not at work. People are leaving their jobs because it's just, we are in such a state, and I said this earlier, we're in such a state of disarray and uncertainty. And part of me, I don't think the government should be, leading our lives and being so involved directly in our lives. But I do think there is some responsibility to make sure that we feel a little bit comfortable. It doesn't make sense that we're dealing with inflation when half of us don't have jobs or we're underpaid. So that's where I stand on that.
I feel that it's crazy. Like you're right, 2 years we've gotten three stimulus checks, and they weren't
If
even all
that,
at
some people
once.
haven't even got it.
Oh,
Yeah.
for real? Like I know
That's crazy.
some people like
I,
it. They got it like 7 months afterwards or something.
man, I'd have been in the Oval Office. Hey, I need that. I need that.
Excuse me. Oh man. Oh, guess what? We got another one. Yeah. Talk to Q. He said that stress. We might have to have you up one day. You're coming with them today. And he said that stress from day to day living is driving people crazy. So much violence and mayhem from people snapping from the pressures of society. And that's right. We got to remember, like, while we're talking about whether or not stimulus checks are all right, people are losing their jobs or don't even have enough to begin with, and they got to make choices that's going to help support them and do what they need to do. So it's like crazy, like why is there so much of this or that? But it's like people trying to live right now. They're trying to eat, and it's insane. I think right now well, I just lost my stats, but just, oh no, I think cases are up right now. There's a total of 62, 62 million cases in the US in the past 30 days. I don't
Yeah,
remember
that's
what it was last year, but I know that it's incredibly higher now than it was before. So kind
yeah.
of curious, like how are y'all feeling about like the CDC versus Omarion, technically known as Omicron, but I like Omarion.
I think it's actually insane that we're actually getting sicker. Um, it's from what I understand, it's not as quote unquote deadly as when COVID initially hit. But the fact is, you're still getting sick. You're still down bad for weeks at a time. Um, like perfect example, my girlfriend. She went to work. Somebody she works with, his friend is in the hospital, like on the brink right now, and it's really sad to watch because this is something that could have been avoided if it was handled properly the first go around. Now we got 50 million variants. Who knows, when it's going to end and if it ever is going to end, because at this point, the government and the CDC came together, they put their genius brains together and said, you know what? I think they realized COVID isn't going to go anywhere. So let's reduce the amount of days to 5 to where you quarantine or whatever. They only did that because I don't know if you guys saw those emails from like a airline CEO. They're basically saying, "Hey, we need shorter quarantine times because people ain't coming to work." So it's
Mhm.
basically, as everything in America boils down to, money. We got to keep the economy running. We got to keep people at work. But what's the point of doing all that if people are sick and dying in the process? At some point, you're gonna run out of people to go to work.
And
Right.
it's crazy to me because people are saying, "Oh, let me just go get Omarion, so I'll get my antibodies, all this stuff." But no one's really. People are so concerned. And I don't know how anyone stands about the vaccine, but people are so concerned about what the long-term effects of the vaccine is when there has not been any. I mean, I guess the vaccine's been out since May, maybe earlier. It's no long-term side effects. We haven't grown a different arm. We haven't, gotten electric static from our brains and
Not
things like
yet.
that. Not yet. However, we see what long-term COVID does. So it's like you're risking getting COVID at any variation rather than, I mean, getting the vaccine or staying your ass at home or wearing a mask. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. So that's one of my big things. If people right now are just out here getting COVID, or the fact that you can go to work if you are vaccinated but asymptomatic, but you're still testing positive, as if
Yep.
it's as if you're not able to still transmit the disease. So it
Yep.
just a lot of the law or regulations and rules that the CDC is telling us don't make sense. And like I said, it feels like the government is telling us every man is out here for themselves.
Yo,
Yeah.
yeah. Did y'all see that one thing? Also, shout out to everyone commenting. Yeah, I'm with y'all. This is insane. And in fact, I want to go back to what Rebecca Johnson said, because I think this is a really big part. Like she said the CDC is making decisions on what's best for the economy, best in quotation mark. People were saying all that pressure was coming from Trump, but they're still making the BS calls. Yeah, they're even getting more aggressive with it.
Yep.
Like the things that are said from the White House now compared to last year. I mean, it's all crazy. But you don't remember when they sent that? I don't know if it was a press release or statement, but it's basically like, yeah, if you're not vaccinated, then sucks to suck, you might die. Oh well, like, and
Basically.
it's almost like unnecessarily aggressive, especially when I feel like I got the vaccine and I'm glad I did and would technically recommend it, but people are presenting it as the answer for everything when in reality it's like you can still get it, like it definitely like reduces some things, but it's not like get it and you're safe wherever you go outside with your mask off and all these things. So there's not enough support financially, education wise, or even like getting everything out to people where they need it. So it's all a mess, and it's almost like all a game to everyone, and it's annoying. You're right.
And then
Oh, yeah. Oh, I want to hear what you say in a second. But yeah, Carlos Santiago, they're not caring about people with disabilities. There's so much like lack of care for people and how they're living, what people are going through, the questions people have, and it's ridiculous. But yeah, Queen, sorry to cut you off. What were you about to say?
Me or Queen?
Queen Cole. I think I heard you first.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that it's just basically the US showing its true colors, that it's always going to be profit over people. So as long as people are coming to work, things are getting on the shelf so people can run out and get them, then they're going to continue pushing it. I mean, when the virus can stay in your body, you can test positive for up to 12 weeks, but people can't afford to stay home. They can't afford to stay home 12, 14 weeks without getting paid. So of course people are going to make a decision, and it's irresponsible. It's just really irresponsible of the CDC and the government going hand in hand, like y'all are on your own.
Yeah. My thing is the whole idea of America is, essentially what they said in Drumline: one band, one sound, right? We're Americans, we're supposed to be in this together. But when I talk to some people and I say, yo, like, why don't you wear a mask, or, why don't you want to get vaccinated? The answers vary, but I'm like, what if, you visit your grandma or something, or your uncle, aunt, whoever, and get them sick, but they're not as lucky as, you may have been, or someone else, you would think that would be enough to convince somebody like, oh, maybe getting vaccinated either A, isn't that bad, or maybe just at a small, point, I'll just wear my mask. But we're so hell bent on these, freedoms, which again, I don't know how wearing a mask infringes on your freedoms, but it's crazy. But it just doesn't make sense to want to preach to me about, we're all Americans and this and that, but we're not on one accord when it comes to, making sure that everybody stays alive and less people get sick. Because I remember when this first started, it was supposed to be, yo, everybody go home for 2 weeks. If we can just go home for 2 weeks, we should be all right until we figure out what's actually going on. And they was just like, nah, I think I'm going to stay outside. And you're not going to tell me to be in my house and blah, blah, blah.
Shout out to
Well,
Atlanta.
going back to Joe Byron, he campaigned on the fact that he was going to get COVID reeled in, and that Trump was doing so bad with COVID. And then just a few weeks ago, y'all president said, oh, we're going to leave it up to the states. Well, that's what was happening from the get-go, as if people in America don't hop on planes and we don't travel around. So when you say like, okay, it's one band, one sound, first of all, America is never going to be one band, one sound, because we have the Democrats and the Republicans. We have different ideologies, and it's just a hot mess there. But all 50 states aren't in it together and it's all political. Like, they've made COVID so political and so divisive that I think now it's no way to turn people back, because people have been so anti-vax, so standing on their high ground, standing on their hills, to the fact that they're not going to just say, oh, you know what, I'm going to get the vaccination now. Oh, you know what, I'm going to wear a mask and be responsible, because we're a prideful people. If we're one of anything, we are all prideful.
There we go.
Fact that we can't ever say that we were wrong.
You're right. And I feel like what's interesting, we talk about like one band, one sound, and it almost as if like there actually is one band and one sound. And I think Carla, like I feel you on this. Like, wealthy people are good. They're taking care. They're already good on their own terms, whatever they did to get what they need to do, and they're supported. They're supported by the government too, which is insane. Now, I want to share a comment from Alexis Parker, who asked a good question. I want to take it to each of you one by one. But Alexis said, "What do you think it would take for the government to decide to shut down and implement another quarantine period? Or do you think it will never happen again, no matter how many people get sick or die?" Calvin, I'm gonna start with you. What do you think it would take for the government to decide for real shut down, like a real quarantine, not like last year, like, yeah, I mean, maybe go inside, Like, what do you think it'll take?
See, and that's the thing. Like, I don't think we'll ever go back there because again, to tell people, yo, we need to go in the house for a month, they're gonna lose their minds and say, I'm not doing that. You're telling me what to do. The government shouldn't be able to tell me I can't go outside or do X, Y, and Z. So there's just gonna be too much pushback for people to actually do it. So it'd just be a waste of time, like it was when we tried it the first time, and the second time, and the third time. Unless unless Kamala, Joe, any like say a group of high-ranking officials were to get sick and die, or we just had one day where like it was like a Black Mirror episode where I don't know if there's like one episode with like bees, and the bees were like going in people's brains and like they were just killing them. Unless we had some kind of one singular day or week where like I don't know 20% of like the population just hospitalized or something crazy like that happened, maybe they would push for a quarantine and stimuluses and all that kind of stuff to get people to take it more seriously. But even then, there's still going to be the people that say, "Not my problem. Oh well, I didn't die, so why do I need to go in the house for?" So I don't know. I honestly don't know. I just don't think it'll ever happen unless some extinction level event happen, to kind of force people's hands. But even then, like she said, people in America are so prideful that they can't see past, an hour from now. It's all about right now, right now. What do I want right now? And until we get past that, we're going to be COVID-19 until, the 3000s.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to get you in a second, Jasmine. A thought popped in my head. It's random, but did y'all see the movie Don't Look Up?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's so crazy. Like that movie was about a meteor coming in to crash into the world and destroy the planet, and people in leadership, political people, like, oh, okay, for real? Okay, we'll deal with that in a second. It's election season right now. We're gonna chill for a second. And obviously, it's about the meteor, but the way that people reacted to, like, oh, don't look at the stars, it's all fake, it's a conspiracy, it's like the exact same thing. It's like, you're right, that pride, it's almost like it doesn't even matter. Like the pandemic isn't even a thing, it's something else that's really dividing us and keeping us from keeping us from getting through this all together. But yeah, Jasmine, what do you think about Alexis's question? Like, what do you think it will take for the government to decide to shut down and implement another quarantine, or for real quarantine?
I'm with Calvin. I don't think it's anything that is going to really shut us down, other than maybe if every hospital collapses, and the healthcare system just actually collapses. Because when I think about it, it's only the people who can work from home that can stay at home, right? We still need to go to the grocery store if we're at home, unless they employ the National Guard, which, I mean, look, they got military money to do that, but they're not going to. We still need our delivery drivers to deliver us food. And I mean, it all comes down to food and us eating. I mean, I'm sure it's other things that I can't think of right now, but we still need our day-to-day. We need our pharmacists to go and pick up our medicines. We need, some people have house cleaners that have to come. We have our maintenance men. We have all these people who need to be physically at work and physically around people to get their jobs done. So I don't see it really happening without affecting the economy, which they're not going to do at this point. But it's interesting that they won't do it, and that they are refusing to shut down the economy when Marcia Fudge, who is, I believe she's secretary of something. But she tweeted the other day that the economy is doing so great, the best is done in years, XYZ, but you are literally sacrificing your people for this economy. So to answer your question, I just don't see them going against their capitalistic values to shut down again.
Mm-hmm. I feel that. Queen Cole, glad you're back with us. So Alexis Parker, she asked a question, and we're going around sharing our thoughts on it, but just kind of curious, like, what do you think it would take for the government to decide to shut down and implement another quarantine period?
I have to agree with the panel. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. We did that, but when we look at other places that have, and that's the thing, America always wants to be like the big brother, the place everybody comes to. We're no longer, people don't want to come here anymore. We used to be the melting pot where people run here, wanting better opportunities and stuff. Now people are looking at us like, y'all are corny, y'all are lame, y'all doing stuff all ass backwards, and they don't want to come here. So when other people see what other countries are doing, having mandatory shutdowns, one of my friends lives overseas, and they were going to the grocery store by your last name. Like, they're like, okay, from this time to this time, your last name starts with C, go at this time. They kept the virus down, but it's like, we don't want to be aggressive with it. We just want to just keep on whatever money's out there. It's just like we're scoundrels. We just gotta get every little coin. We gotta just keep it going. When it's really we're walking on broken legs, and it's sad. It's a sad thing. I don't think we'll ever go back to a shutdown.
And if I could touch on that point, other countries, like you said, we are this ideal country that every other country at one point aspired to be. But this shows us how broken we are. I think the past 2 years, not just with COVID, but our racial issues that have resurfaced, and our mental health, and all the things that have been going on in America. Seeing that capitalism isn't necessarily the answer. And I keep saying capitalism because that's literally the problem. But it's not necessarily the answer. And people come here, they get their money, and it's like, and then some of them send it back to their families. And it's like, they're that sacrificial lamb that can deal, and they're probably the strongest of the family that can deal with living and, handling America. But it's like, I would love to live on an island and live easy and not have to worry about going to work, and maybe, going to work 5 days a week, getting my money to pay my bills, and then going home. But we're in this culture, and I don't know if it's just America, but we're in this hustle society where we need to just keep going, keep making money. Our hobbies have now become monetized. So for me, it's no place, or it's no country like this where you're so focused on the dollar, which has shown how, like you said, how broken we are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, America's one big rat race.
It's crazy.
For real. I just want to shout out Australia right now, because I remember during the height of the pandemic last year, they all really did shut down. They all went and partied, and it was good for a while. I mean, they did have the spike come back, but they kind of took care of what they needed to take care of. They had to go back in, reassess everything.
Yeah, because they were sending your ass to jail if you was outside.
They were not playing. You're right. Yeah. I don't want that extreme, but at the same time, we might have to do what you have to do. Yeah, and honestly, I don't know. Like, part of me thought that maybe the whole like lesson that quarantine time to 5 days was the government's way of just like, all right, we're gonna Thanos this, everyone get it. Then like, okay, now you're taking it for real. We shut down, but I don't think it was like that. That'd be kind of crazy. But yeah, this pandemic stuff is crazy. Everyone disagrees. Everyone has all these different opinions on how we need to handle it. But one thing that I have seen people come together about are these student loans. For the most part, everyone's like, yeah, I'm not trying to pay these things. There's a few people like, oh no, we need to keep them. They're going to keep our economy afloat. But I got.
This is what kind of inspired this pull up, huh?
It is, man. It is, because like around this time, we were all supposed to start paying the student loans back, and then Byron and them were like, "Yeah, we'll wait till May." So they keep delaying, and I'm like, "Yo, what's happening? What's the holdup?" And they're so crazy, because I really feel like we always talk about paying, like we're basically like paying the government back or paying some private company back, but like if we all we're not paying these student loans back, we'd be spending the money on other things, helping the economy grow and all this stuff. So I'm like, what do y'all really want? What do y'all really want? How are y'all feeling about these student loans?
My first thought is, if I ain't paid you in 2 years and the economy is booming, the hell you need my money for now? You didn't need it the last 2 years, but all of a sudden, you need your money. So that's my biggest issue because that's what they sell you on is, oh, like, we need the money, it goes into the economy, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, imagine how much more money you'd actually get from me if I didn't have to pay these so aggressively, only to know like we're not even paying the loans. We're just maintaining debt. Literally, I'm pretty sure everyone in here, or really anyone with student loans, they could tell you, man, I've been paying on my student loans for 10 years, and for some reason I still owe more than what I borrowed. Because the money is going nowhere. We all signed a 360 deal with whoever our loan servicer is to get an education that's not worth a damn now, because this is my other gripe. They've devalued, the degree so much. And it's crazy because, before, what is everybody, at least in my opinion, everybody was told the same thing growing up. You go to school, go to college, and when you get out of college, you get a good job. So they never really proposed any of the solutions like, trades or whatever. It was take your ass to college, get a good job, and you'll be all right.
Mm-hmm.
More times than not, I know a lot of people who went to college and it's, man, I'm still working at Old Navy though. I can't even break into my field. Or I got to go back to school for some more education because apparently you need, some kind of certificate or a master's or this. Because my last year of school, they tried to get me to stay at school for another 3 years because 3 years because they were like, oh, we failed to mention, even though I think I needed 130, 140 credits to graduate it. And Walter was there. I had 178 credits when I graduated college because I ended up having to drop the education portion of my degree because they wanted me to take their education school over again. I'm like, fam, I already been in school 4 years or
Yeah,
5
yo,
years.
Kyle, can you
Okay, I need you to explain.
yeah, and also share
What's
what
your
was your
degree?
degree? What was your degree and what are you doing
All right,
now?
so
I
let's
need those
rewind.
two.
The year is 2010. I'm young. I'm 18. I care about the world. I care about the children. I know they're our future. So I'm like, I want to be a PE teacher. It would keep me active in sports, because that's something I enjoy. It allows me to give back to my community because I was hoping to go teach at either my old, elementary school, middle school, whatever. And as I'm going through each year of school, I think I get to my 3rd year. That's when they start letting you do observations and student teaching to really like get your feet wet and put you in those situations. By the time I got to my 5th year, because me and Walter's school closed down, um, I went
Got a
to
whole story for y'all about that. We'll
yes,
do a whole special.
when we were in
What school
Bristol,
did y'all go to?
it's a small, non-existent school anymore, Virginia and Omarion.
Shout out to
Okay.
BI.
What city?
It's in
Bristol,
Bristol, Virginia.
Virginia, yeah. It's like
Bristol.
where Virginia and Tennessee touch, basically.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if you watch NASCAR, probably not. They have a speedway there. It's like the most famous thing the city is known for. Um,
I went to school in Richmond.
okay, so you know about the Richmond Speedway. Okay. But yeah, so I get to this point where I'm going to do the observations, and Bristol isn't really like a quote unquote like rich college town. I mean, it's literally one of the poorest areas in Virginia. So to see kids come in, hungry, clothes messed up, they just everybody's just down bad. I was like, man, I don't know if I could deal with this at 22, knowing that I ain't gonna be making no money either. And I'm gonna have to feed myself. And I'm more than likely gonna have to be, the teacher that's, yo, just drop off your dirty clothes. I'll take them to the crib and wash them. Like, oh, yeah, I need, some sandwiches, whatever. I don't know that my mental would have been able to handle that at, 22, 23. So I made a decision to drop the education portion from my degree, and it was just straight exercise science because I'd already taken all the anatomy classes and all that stuff, and I figured I can get into occupational therapy because I was gonna work at the VA hospital and try to work with like disabled vets. Need more school for that, and I was just like, man, I am tired of going to school. I don't have no more money for y'all. So the fact that I was already trapped into this idea of becoming a teacher, and having to struggle with not even getting to do that. It's like, I went to school for what? And then on top of that, it was so expensive, but it seemed at the time there was no alternative, to trying to, build a career and find my own way. And it seems as though even after you graduate, you probably take another 2 or 3 years, if you're lucky, to really find out what it is you want to do. And I hate the idea that we put so much pressure on, kids from ninth grade up until graduation to figure out what do you want to do for the rest of your life right now. Because nobody knows that when they're 15, 16. You worried about, yo, does my outfit look good? Y'all going to the game tonight? Like, what we doing? Not, well, I hope when I turn 30, I have a house or whatever. And you can't even afford that now.
For real. You know what else? Like, I think Carla, you really came with the truth. When education, it is presented as like, get a degree, you'll get a good job, have everything you want in life, live that American dream. But we could do all of that. And I don't know about y'all, but when I first got it, I was like, it took a minute for me to find my footing, and I feel like I'm still finding it, because when you are Black or a person of color, you could do all that stuff, get the job, but then you find out you're underpaid. So it's like, oh, you got the dream job, but they're not paying you like that. Or you're a woman and you're like getting paid a good amount, but men getting paid more. I was like, yo, what's happening? What's happening? And then, but we still have to pay the same amount back to student loans. And I think I got to shout out Australia again, because I remember I met someone at a career fair, because we were all out here struggling. Like, let's go to this career fair. And he was saying, like, yeah, in Australia, you graduate, you don't have to pay it back until you get a job, and then you start paying it back and everything. But here it's like you got 6 months if you're lucky, and it's right back at it. But Jasmine, I kind of want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on like student loans and education? I know you're like considering graduate school and everything, and that's going to add more to it. So I'm curious, like, how do you feel about all this?
Okay, so I'll be transparent and say I do not have student loans.
Oh,
Ooh. Tomato.
But my family sold a house, and that's how we were able to pay. My grandparents had a house; they sold that house. We lived in my grandparents still live in my grandfather's sister's house, so they sold their house to pay for my college.
Sorry, I just gotta shout out.
So I don't have a dog in this fight. However, I love the sound effects. However, I will say that when you think about education, I do think it's overpriced. Like, if I shouldn't pay $20,000, or it's way more than that. I shouldn't leave college with $100,000 in debt and only make on average $50,000 when inflation and all the expenses I have to now pay as a graduate. It just doesn't make sense, the cost variables. However, I do think that at least people should pay the principal. You got to think about the endowment and what resources your school actually has. Are they keeping up with their buildings? And hold your schools accountable, because you could go to a HBCU and see that the buildings are falling down, but some of them. But you have to keep the schools up. It's, again, a capitalist society where you have to pay to get things. And I just don't think it should be free. I think you should pay a certain amount, but I don't think they should be hitting heads for college. I am looking at grad schools. I do not plan on paying. If I do pay, it has to be a very minimal amount, because there are resources. Like, people get full rides a lot. Most people don't, but some people get full rides. Some people, athletes, for example, I think that's a better conversation to talk about athletes and how much money they bring into the schools and don't get paid. So I think it's just a lot that's wrong with the school financial aid departments and the whole financial system in general. And then I also think that with these private loans and the government loans, again, the interests are exorbitant. Like, it doesn't make sense. So if you all just paid the principal, that makes more sense for me, rather than you are paying the interest on top and just like accumulating nonsense, because you're actually just paying Sally Mae at that point.
You're maintaining that.
Yeah,
That's
you're
all it is.
maintaining. I agree with you. You're maintaining debt. But I do think you should pay for school.
I like the difference in. Okay, so now I'm curious, Queen. What do you think about this? Where are you leaning right now? Are you to lean like get rid of it all, Joe? Do what you say you're gonna do, or you're like Jasmine? Like, I mean, you gotta pay it back, pay it back. It's what you agreed on. So how are you feeling about student loans and education right now?
Okay, so mine is a totally different perspective. Being a parent of two college students, one who recently just graduated from college, but both of them at the
Shout out to them.
Congrats, mom.
yes. So one is still in college who is not carrying any debt, and one just graduated and does not have any debt. But I do remember my son freshman year, and he's like, "Mom, everybody's getting a rebate check. Like everybody's balling out. Like I'm over here at the calf, and everybody's at Juicy Crab, and like what? Like he didn't understand. Like you're there." You don't have it because you didn't pay that out. He didn't understand the whole loan process. But to fast forward the story, so I don't have children that have student loans. So that's a plus, but I'm not a college graduate, but I grew up in the era where they were telling me, go to college, you got to do this and this, do this and that. But then when it came for me to sign the dotted line, my parents are like, well, how you go, where this money coming from? And then, for me being 17 years old, graduated high school and thinking, oh, I'm about to get a $40,000 loan. I'm like, what? Like it didn't make sense to me. So I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm a lifelong student. I have done some online courses. I've never graduated, but I also don't have any debt. And I just think that we got to be financially responsible also. Like we got to say, okay, I want this degree. Is this something that you want to do? Like you said, Calvin, that was smart. You're like, nah, I ain't about to keep signing up. So it's like, where does our financial responsibility come from first? Okay, can I go to Harvard? Can I go to an HBCU? Can I go to these places? If not, do you need to start slow? Do you need to just go to a junior college, get your footing, get your good grades and all that, and then move on to something bigger and get the name to fulfill your duties? So I think one, it has to be personal responsibility first, saying, hey, this is what I can afford, because a lot of people have been in that situation where they can't afford it and they're thinking that's going to help them in the long run, when the degree that you get this year, the degree from 3 years from now is not the same. The industry has changed. And so I just think the personal responsibility has to be there first. You got to say, I can do this. It's just like when you're getting a house. Like I would love, pool and all this. I can't afford that. I'm not gonna be able to maintain just the bill. Okay, I can move in. I can pay the mortgage, but what about the light bill? I got 10 rooms that need to be air conditioned and heated. And so I don't think as Americans we count the cost. We just think at the long term. We don't think the steps all the way through. So can the government help out? Yeah, if they can say, we're gonna cut y'all half and then pay the rest back. It needs to be some kind of negotiation. And everybody's financial situation is different. Everybody don't have a house to sell. Like
That's true.
I wish I could have sold a house. Like I remember my kids were in college, and then I'm going through a divorce. I'm like eating 4 for 4. Like, oh, I got a bill coming up because I got to keep kid in school. Both of my children were athletes. But when this COVID situation happened, games and stuff for my son were getting canceled, their season and all that. So he went from 100% scholarship for the first 2 years. Then COVID, he had 85% scholarship. So then it's like, okay, we got to come up with the rest. So me and my ex-husband split in that. But I'm like, what? Where is going? It's still something to come up with. So it's like, okay.
And then, sorry to cut you off, and beyond just the tuition expenses, like they still want to go out. They still want to, join clubs. They
got
want
a
to do
car.
all
My son had a
that
car.
cost.
Yes, my son had a car first year. And any parents that are listening, if you have a freshman, don't let them take that car. I know this is like, y'all want to fight me, tomato, boo. I know, but all the time parking in the wrong spot, car getting booted, tickets.
Wait, is your son in
Freshman
Atlanta?
year?
To be fair, I ain't never had that problem. But I didn't get my car
he was
until
at
my
he was at
second year.
Savannah State. He was at Savannah State, but I'm just
Oh,
saying he still booted, parking the wrong spot. It's raining. No, they need to learn how to hike it. Even though my kids have been driving since they were 15 years old, so it was hard to say, don't take your car, but then you still got to maintain the car. We got to get you an oil change. He was driving the Escalade. He needed gas for the bus. Like,
oh, you're so fancy.
I'm saying
it was a lot.
though.
It was a lot. It was a lot.
Escalade.
So no, he didn't have no debt when he
he was at
graduated.
Juicy
And
Crab.
I don't
He
think
was there.
I don't think it has really sunk into him how blessed he is at this point to start off with no debt, but it's a thing. And I think we just got to take personal responsibility and say, you know what, if this is something that I'm going to go for, then I need to count the cost too. I don't think we always count the cost. We just think the next thing is going to pay for it. That job is going to pay. It's not, because it may not even be there in 3 years. We got to think about how society progresses, that what's here is not going to be here maybe in 3 years. We hope so, but
Hey,
we
all
don't
don't have
know.
you as our mom.
And it's making a smart choice with your degree also. And I think for me, that was a big realization, is I studied public relations and mass communications. Like you said, that degree is going to change in the next 3 years. Now my School of Mass Communications is now Robertson School of Media and Culture. So their whole curriculum and their degree is different, and it sounds like it has more weight to it. But with a mass communications field or communications and culture or media field, you don't learn necessarily a topic or a skill that translates into the real world. You learn how to write. But any degree, you learn how to write. Most degrees, you learn how to write. You learn how to tell a story. If you're passionate about it, it will work out. And a lot of my jobs was just sending emails back and forth, honestly. So,
but and that was my son. That's my son. Is mass comm.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm a minor in mass comm.
Yeah, and I mean, I love it. I loved my degree. I loved my school experience. But like I said, now I'm looking at something more topical where I can be an expert versus just this general communications professional.
Mm-hmm. You know what? With
This
that
is
in mind,
why-
I think you mentioned something earlier about, I think Queen did actually, about community college and technical schools. And like looking back, I had an experience where I got to take some dual credit classes at a technical college, and I realized like that was actually a really cool learning environment. Like they went straight to the meat. Like, all right, this is what you need to know to get out there and do your thing and get some money and everything. And it's like we do really glorify universities because there's a lot of fun things to do on campus and off campuses and being at college. But when you really think about it, like that impact and value, these community colleges and technical schools, like we definitely do need to put some more respect on their names and everything, because they do a lot and really do equip you and everything. So like how Carl was saying earlier about like these schools, they have like whole commercials and campaigns. It's like, man, we really need to start getting swept away by the bells and whistles and the pretty things to really look at these other learning environments that actually are kind of practical and everything. But yeah, Calvin, didn't mean to cut you off. What were you about to say?
Honestly, I can't even remember. I just know that when I had finally got my car on campus, I was leaving it parked everywhere. I didn't even care. I knew I wasn't
I
going to
remember.
get no ticket. Until I got to Bluefield and they started putting tickets on my car. And I was
They
like,
did
all
not
right.
play. They did not
I need a
play.
parking pass. Why I need a parking pass? I don't even live on campus. What's
Right.
I had
insane?
to hit a parking pass. I begged for my car to be on campus too.
Man,
See?
yeah.
And
I feel
we
for your
do it,
son.
and we do it, and then we
Right. It's a different feeling when you're rolling on campus with your own car. It's a different feeling, but it teaches other principles. Like Queen, I'm curious. Like, do you ever feel like you just want to like take everything away from your son and just let him like try to figure it out so he kind of gets a feel for it and really realizes like, oh, okay, this is what I got.
Yeah, but see, once you, as a parent, once you commit, say, okay, go ahead, take your car. So then you do that. So then in your brain, when they start doing all this other stuff, then you let them, I don't want to say drown, but you let them get a little salt in their nose. You let, a little water get in their ears. Like, I can't hear you. You drowning. What? The calf is closed. He was, eating out so much, and then I had to send him Tupperware. I don't know, y'all don't call it Tupperware. storage boxes. Okay, when you go to the cash, get something for later on and do that for a couple
Mhm.
That's
weeks.
actually smart.
That's
good.
smart.
Do that for a couple weeks, and then we'll talk about something else. So
Because
yes,
my little
Good.
passes was gone. We used that to swipe people in.
Oh yeah, I
see,
remember that. Oh,
Yeah.
the swipes. So, all right, y'all. Jasmine, I know you've got to leave us. We've been rocking for a long time. Appreciate all of y'all tuning with us. But Jasmine, before you head off, any final statements, and also, do you have anything you'd like to plug?
Just everyone be blessed, stay politically engaged and politically mature. I don't have anything right now that I'm working on in particular, but my website is relaunching on Monday, Martin Luther King Day, which is also the 3-year anniversary of my business.
Oh yeah.
So shout out to me. Also, JasmineLaVerne.com. It will be live on Monday.
Okay, we're looking out for it. Looking out for it. And one last thing, I lied to you, my bad. But what should we look out for this year, coming up politically? Like, what's kind of keeping you engaged? What has your interest right now?
Honestly, this rerun of Stacey Abrams and what she's going to be doing. Half of me is like, she shouldn't be saving the Democratic Party. We have other people who can take the charge. It shouldn't be all on her. But I think she does have a strong fight. I think she is the future of the party. I think if people, when I say people, I'm talking about legislators and people in the political sphere. If they actually took time to listen and learn something from Miss Abrams, then we might, be in a better place. I'm looking forward to see how she integrates and talks to and communes and is in community with the squad. So that's what I'm looking forward to, is her governor's race down in Georgia.
All right. Well, we appreciate your time, Jasmine. I hope you enjoy the rest of
Thank
your
you. And
night,
it's always
weekend.
good talking to you guys. So I'll talk to y'all soon. Hit me up on Twitter.
We'll do. We'll do. And we accidentally lost Queen, but Calvin, same answer to you. What are you looking for? What are you paying attention to? What has your interest
I'm looking to see
politically?
how they're going to combat inflation, because, really, like I said, we've all seen it. The price of everything is through the roof, and there seems to be no end in sight. I would like to know what the Dems, future plans are as far as party leadership, because it seems as though no one can be on the same accord as Joe, and you know who is going to be the leader, because it just seems like they kind of wheel him out there to say something and then bring him back in the house. So we just need somebody who's visible and is really going to make the push to get things done, whether it be with or without help. Because that was the one thing I always noticed about, like I said, the difference between Democrats and Republicans. Republicans, no matter what, if they have complete control of House, Senate, we don't care if you don't like it or not. We're gonna sign it and push it through. Having to deal with the back and forth of, oh, we need to do it the right way doesn't necessarily help, and that's what I mean by impeding progress. Because, like I said, if Joe wanted to get rid of student loans, or even just do what they promised with, like, I think Kamala said we can knock off like 10,000. Even that is more helpful than just saying, we don't know, y'all figure it out, basically. Because it seems like that's what's been going on a lot the last few months, is y'all figure it out. You're on your own, basically. And that's just not going to cut it anymore, because when it comes time to vote again, they're going to find themselves by themselves and wondering why didn't we have good turnout, or why didn't we get the votes that we got last time. It's because you didn't do anything that you said you was going to do, and it's just as simple as that. So they need to get the move on sooner than later, because people don't forget, plain and simple.
You're right. You're right, Queen. Queen. What are you looking forward to? What has your attention as you kind of continue on to 2022?
What I usually have my eyes on are the midterm elections and then also local elections. So I really care about what's going on
in my sphere. So that way I'm like, okay, how can I make a difference? Yes, voting for the president is good, but my local community, my local officials, I need to know. And I guess too, don't have a short-term memory when these politicians are saying this, and that, and then you don't see them do stuff, and then it comes re-election. You're like, oh, I know this name, so I'll be writing down, like when is he a senator or congressman? Uh, took off when it was a snowstorm in Texas. I wrote that down because when I go to the polls, I don't want to be like so blinded, like, oh, this name looked familiar. No, this is what he did when we were in a crisis. He flew his family and friends out so that way they can have heat and be in, nice accommodations, opposed to the city on fire. Like what? So we
Right.
can't have
Didn't
a
he run to
short-term
Mexico?
memory.
Yeah, he went to
Yes.
Cancun.
Cancun? Yeah, man. Flee to Mexico, but yeah.
Family
No.
and friends. Matter of fact, they didn't need heat. They were they were at a resort. So it's like, we can't forget throughout the year. So when these midterms be coming up, we need to be okay. This is what you do. Make a note so that way you can research these people, see what they're doing throughout, because we don't hear from them throughout unless something crazy happens. So we don't know what they're doing day in and day out. We gotta check and see, because they're meeting all the time. Bills are being paid. People are lobbying for this. We need to know. And that's what I think that we need to do. We got to just dig a little bit deeper. Yes, we see all the glory on TV, but what's happening in your area? What's happening in your city? Because it affects you long term.
And that was Texas Senator Ted Cruz for all y'all. He said, "Bye, I'm out. Go to Mexico." But he won't let anyone come back over when they gotta flee some danger and everything. But Queen, one more thing for me. Do you have anything you'd like to plug or promote before you head out?
Oh, if everybody, first of all, thank you for always having this. This is always great. I always like having these conversations because I don't feel like I'm just ranting. On my shows, I'm like, okay, I'm off my soapbox. So thank you for this space. Thank you for allowing me to be on with everybody. But everybody can follow me at One Queen Cole on all social media platforms, and then also follow me at Light the Path Podcast. I'll be having season 3 coming up at the end of the month. So thank you. That's it.
I appreciate you. And Calvin, say question to you. Do you have anything you'd like to promote or any kind of final messages? We already heard like what you're looking forward to. So yeah, any last thoughts?
I don't have anything to promote as of right now, but go out there, try to find your way to make some money. Everything's expensive. Stay in the house. Wear your mask. If you feel like getting vaccinated, do that. Everything is just crazy outside. So, stay safe, but be dangerous.
Stay safe. I love that. I love that. Well, y'all, for me, I'm gonna share something too, because I actually do have something to invite y'all to and everything, and join with me, however those words work. But what I'm looking forward to and really paying attention to is just like voting rights across the board, just like what's happening, what's changing. I'm gonna also steal Jasmine's thing because she left, but just following Stacey Abrams and trying to support where I can, because I got her. But also, I want y'all to check me out on LinkedIn because I had the honor and privilege of being selected as one of the first 100 for LinkedIn's first ever creator accelerator program. Today was the first official week of it starting. I'm gonna give myself
Where's that round of applause?
Yeah. I'm proud of myself. And y'all, my whole thing is supporting people working while Black, and I'm out here creating content. Solo has some few live shows and everything, but I really appreciate you, Rebecca. And I really want y'all to join me and everything. I think that we all have certain stories and experiences and just lessons we've learned navigating through professional environments. So you're going to see Calvin, you're going to see Queen, you're going to see Jazz back over there on LinkedIn, but definitely follow me there. I would love to hear some of your thoughts and responses to the things I'm talking about. Things like, toxic work environments, because we all there's a real thing about corporate PTSD and all that stuff too. Also, really how to use LinkedIn to really grow in your career, make money. Like they're for real all about creating economic opportunities, helping you get the bag. So we talking about all that, working while Black, trying to get some experts. May even see Jay-Z on there. I don't know just yet because no one's returning my emails at all. And I don't even know what emails to send the emails to, but
Did
someone
you send
eventually.
it to Jigga Man Dynasty, The Rock.
Oh, at Yahoo.
Yeah.
I
Try
didn't
that
try. I'm gonna try that one. I'm gonna try that one. It's gonna happen. I'm gonna have that dinner. I'm gonna live stream it the whole time. So y'all definitely join me there. And y'all appreciate y'all tuning in live or catching the replay. However you're watching this, this is not the end. This isn't gonna be a weekly thing, but it is gonna be a reoccurring thing. And have these people back. Gonna have some other people. Like I might even have like a Black Trumper on one day. We'll see. We'll see what
Hey, yo.
happens. But yeah, man, don't let the pressure off Joe Byron. Let him know what you think, and we will catch y'all next time.